There are 5 things that keen property investors make when jumping headfirst into the industry, looking to get their first buy-to-let, flip or HMO project. The problem is, if you're making one of these 5 mistakes, it's going to stop you making progress, getting your first deal, growing your business, or even worse, buying a property deal that ends up making a loss, putting you 1 step forward and 2 steps back. Let's explore these 5 mistakes and how you can be more aware and avoid making them yourself so you can build a wildly successful business. Firstly is not analysing deals property. At the moment, the market is incredibly fierce. Bidding wars are rife, and it's pretty common for most project houses to go into best and finals, which is where the estate agents take sealed bids because there is so much interest and then a decision is made without any negotiation. So when I was looking at my buy-to-let renovation last year and keeping an eye on the market at the moment, I saw so many deals sell for silly amounts of money, specifically when looking at properties that need renovating to bring them back up to a good standard, because this is where you tend to find properties below market value and below their full potential. One example, I was sat on an online auction and I witnessed a property with a gross development value of £100,000 sell for £107,000, and that didn't even factor in the £20,000 to £25,000 of work after you factor in the refurb and the legal costs to bring it up to a good standard again. The person who bought it essentially made a 20k loss after you factor in all of those costs. Likewise for normal on-market deals, if you get too emotionally involved, then you start putting silly offers, and that means it's going to wipe out your budget or your refinance if you're doing a buy, refurb, refinance project. Next, buying estate agents' presents. Just stop doing it. This thing seems to be floating around since property gurus started flaunting their outrageously useless courses that to get on the good side of an estate agent and have all of those nice deals slipped under the table to you off market, the only way to do that is buy them treats, flowers and wine. It just doesn't work like that. Sure, estate agents know who to call when they need to sell a property, but that's often because you've bought with them before, they know you won't mess about, and they know that you'll complete if you put an offer in. And that's sometimes when sales fall through and they need a quick save. They know who they can rely on and who can save the whole deal by coming in and buying the property without messing around. That's when you get off-market deals, but at the moment, in this market with it being so hot, they're not going to sell it to you on the cheap on an off-market deal when they know they can put it on the market and get substantially more money. Unfortunately for property investors right now, it's a hot market and it's a seller's market where the deals are to be had not by the buyer, but instead by the seller. Now, this leads me onto the third point very nicely. The third big mistake new property investors make is viewing lots of property and not offering on them, or lowballing the offer to a silly amount below anything reasonable. Now, this is really bad for 2 reasons. Firstly, if you're not making any offers, the estate agent won't take you seriously because it's a waste of their time to drive to 10 different properties knowing that you're not going to offer on any of them. I noticed the minute I started offering on properties, and bearing in mind, it doesn't matter if they're rejected by the buyer, you really start to become known by the estate agent and they know you're serious as long as the offers are respectable. This is when you start to get those emails and phone calls. I started to get last minute viewings on popular properties. I was emailed about upcoming deals where I could book in first just because I was putting in good offers and showed that I'm serious, and that's what matters. Secondly, if you lowball offers that aren't sensible, then it's embarrassing for both of you and the estate agent. By law, the estate agent has to pass on that offer to the vendor, and if it's an offer that is stupid, then it makes the estate agent look stupid in front of their seller, bringing bad offers to the table. So they won't be grateful towards you for doing that, and it doesn't help yourself again because they know that you're putting in silly offers. They might be less inclined to give you a viewing in the first place because they know it'll be a waste of their time. Fourth is using coloured envelopes for your off-market letters when trying to get an off-market property. Again, this is another tactic that seems to originate from the property fake guru world on the free hotel crash room courses, where to get noticed you put a handwritten brightly coloured envelope through the doors of properties you're interested in buying. The problem with this is that everyone is also doing the same thing. HMO landlords are a great example. They get so many brightly coloured letters that they're now so obvious to spot, it makes it easier to put them in the bin when they land through the door. Now, I'm not slating off-market tactics. Sending letters direct to vendor is a great idea and works for many people. But for any properties that get a lot of these letters, if you send a bright green envelope that's handwritten, they'll know already what's in it, and at that moment, you've already lost. Instead, try doing something that other people aren't doing. Add a different touch which will make those letters convert, a bit like a YouTube thumbnail and title. Think of something that other people aren't doing, and maybe, just maybe, you'll begin to have better success if you're chasing off-market deals. Lastly is chasing too many strategies at once, a little bit like shiny penny syndrome. If you're chasing after buy-to-lets, flips, BRRR, HMOs, off-market, empty land, serviced accommodation, the problem is that you'll be in analysis paralysis, and instead you should choose one strategy and stick to it until you become good at it, and then ready to move on to the next strategy. Rather than diverting your attention on several strategies and not really getting anywhere on any of them, focus on one, just like I did. I knew that I wanted a buy-to-let deal that needed a 10 to 20k refurb maximum that I could then hold on to a few years. I did this to get 12 months landlord experience to then unlock better interest rates on HMO mortgages in the future. I then move on to phase 2, which is my cash flow part of my overall strategy, work on a few HMOs, and then build up to larger developments and conversions, which is where I ultimately want to be. But I'm guilty of it. When I started out, I was looking at multiple strategies at once on Rightmove, land portals, and it meant that I wasn't actually getting anything done. Fast forward with a little bit of laser focus, I've already finished the first major project and preparing to move on to my phase 2. If you're wanting to avoid making mistakes, then I have a website over at wtfpropertyinvesting.com full of free, helpful guides, tools, resources, and more to help you in your first steps as a property investor. If you enjoyed this video, then check out my property strategy pyramid, and that explores all of the strategies from easy up to hard and no experience up to loads of experience. It'll really help you focus your attention and grow your business stronger. Click over here, check it out, and I'll see you in the next video.